Okay, what's going on, LBHT crew? B, what is going on?
A little bit of everything this week.
A little bit of everything indeed. We have a lot to talk about. A lot going on in the sports world, man. Deion out there making some moves. Yes, Deion making some moves. A lot of teams had to make some other moves on the fly because there's a lot of the Rona going around. All right. And of course, we got 2 games coming up for our respective teams. The Baltimore Ravens. Will Lamar play? Will he sit? We'll discuss. All right. Over in Carolina, Sam Darnold is back. Will he be the man again, or will Cam hold him off? Ooh.
Well, not Cam. Cam and PJ, because
Cam and PJ. Yes.
It is a 2 QB system in Carolina.
It's funny they didn't have a 2 QB system when Darnold was playing. Probably could have used it. But whatever. What do we know? Let's take a look. Let me try out this chat first. Let me make sure it works. We are always playing around here with different things. Let me see if I can highlight this like Streamlabs told me I could. It doesn't look like. I'm trying to get up Tony Hendo right here. Oh, Streamlabs, you failed me. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get this going. We got Tony Hendo, Keenan Ricketts. Oh man, it failed me, man. It failed me. That's all right. I got a backup plan. All right, I got a backup plan. You're gonna see some behind the scenes stuff here for a second. Just bear with me. Look, man. Look, we're going to get it right. One of these days, we're going to have the perfect show. It's going to be seamless.
It's when we hire a producer.
Yes. So, it's going to be a while, but we're going to get there, guys. We're going to get there. Don't you worry about that. Okay, you see my face again. I'm getting it. Look, we got to bring the rest of the LBHT crew in here. All right. So we need to make sure you guys can be seen. All right. Big Reg 29 says, let him sit. Yes, I agree. Let him sit. Let's see. Felipe Moreno's in the house. What's up, Felipe?
What's going on, Felipe?
We're almost there, guys. I'm gonna get these comments on the screen real soon.
All right, while you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and give out the Black History fact for the week.
Yes, do that, please.
Because it's not really a Black History fact. It's one of the weeks where we like to do a recommendation. We like to do that from time to time. So this week, I'm going to recommend that you check out a documentary. It came out earlier this year. It's called All Light Everywhere. And what it is kind of an examination of surveillance and policing and a little bit of history of cameras and a little bit of history of weapons in there as well. The reason I recommend it is because they are talking about I'm talking about surveillance through the lens of body cameras on police, and they use the Baltimore Police Department, and they also talk about the aerial surveillance that was going on in Baltimore over the last few years. At first, it was not known to anybody, not approved, and then kind of public that they had that plane flying around taking pictures of the city. One picture every second so they could monitor what was going on. And kind of the main point of the movie or the documentary is, you had to always be aware of who it is that's framing the media, who it is that's behind the camera, essentially. They talk about the body cameras and, they were in a training class where they were showing officers how to use them and everything. And talking about, they're there for accountability and protection, and they're kind of a neutral witness, and they show when people are being aggressive, people are maybe assaulting officers. They show you what's going on, and the documentary is pointing out that it's not really a neutral witness because the officer is never in the video, right? Also, the camera that they use, it kind of exaggerates things. It makes people seem closer than they are. It makes movements seem more severe, more aggressive than they actually are. So it's just kind of a way to let you know, hey, you have to think about the way things are framed. They talk about that aerial surveillance. It's it's something that was developed to spot crime in high crime areas, right? They point out that, it can't see anything going on in downtown. It can't see anything going on in the suburbs because, it's got the tall buildings, got all the trees and everything. So it can't even see the people on the ground level. It's literally just in the more urban parts of Baltimore where it can see everything that's going on the street.
Right.
And, it's just one of those things where you always have to be mindful, particularly when it's some sort of authority, whether it's the police department, whether it's the government, whether it's just media. You always have to be mindful of how they're framing things and why they're framing things in that way. So it was a pretty good documentary, and I recommend you check it out.
All right, there you go. That was the Black History Fact. Guys, I am trying to pull these chats up. It's not going to come up on screen, but that's all right, though, because we can read, okay? We're good readers, all right? That's right. I'll get it fixed for the next show. We got our guy, Eric L. in the house. He says, greetings,
up,
brother
Eric
man.
L?
He said, I know all is most excellent. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We got John Hazeb Ali. Thanks for coming through. Tanja, what's up, Tanja? Said, what's up, Jose and Brodny? We don't need no fake fair weather fans. Only ride with the real ones. That is correct. Yes. Andre Mears, what's up, LBHT? Yes, thanks for coming through. Deshaun said, did y'all say hire a producer? Ooh. Hey, you know where to find us, Deshaun. Hit us up.
Yeah.
Hit us up. JP is in the house.
I don't want you to interpret money from the word hire. All right. But no. But yeah, we're definitely going to be looking to do that in the future for sure.
Look, we are at that place where we kind of sort of would start to look at producers because it's becoming a lot, but this is where we're going to need your support the most so we can actually hire a producer, right? So if you want to help support this show and help it grow so we don't have these hiccups in the future, right below, okay? Patreon.com/LBHT Show. Go ahead and sign up for as little as $3 a month, all right? If you were thinking about buying 2 king-size packs of M&Ms, okay? Say to yourself, you know what? We're going to go ahead and give that to Jose and Brodny instead, man. They need that. They need a producer. Okay? All right? And also,
and you need to be healthier.
Yes, and also you should see a pin link this time. I pinned it. That's the link to the Streamlabs, and also right below $LBHT Show. Now that still works, okay? If you leave a donation, leave your comment, that will show up right above us, right above that logo right there. All right. So let's get it in. Couch Rider Raven. So what's up, fellas? What's up with you, Couch Rider? Make sure you subscribe to Couch Rider as well, man. Thanks for coming through. Our guy Ferris is here. He says, "Wow, what was that? The new graphics?" No, I was playing around with the chat, the chat highlight, and don't worry, that wasn't new. That was a mistake.
And sadly, mistakes are not new.
Yeah, Alfonso Richardson, what's up? King of Pugo, what's up? Derek Wedley's in the house. I'm trying to give out a shout out to everybody that I see in here. Yes. All right, now we're gonna start with some sports news. We're gonna get into the Ravens and Panthers in a minute, but just some quick news from around the NFL. And as you can see on the ticker, Daniel Snyder. I know you guys we've talked about Daniel Snyder in the past, how he is an evil person. Yes. Okay, there's all kinds of allegations going on with the Washington football team, which kind of forced him out of the spotlight per se. He's still running things. He has his wife in charge of technically. But, there's still an investigation going on. The NFL hasn't been real forthcoming with information. And now Congress has gotten involved saying, you need to give us this stuff, right? But the Washington Post has reported that Daniel Snyder has pretty much done everything he could to shut these witnesses up, right? So one of the things they're saying is one of the women that settled, he has, he's tried to go out and offer more money to keep her from talking, and we got a donation. Oh, OTR Mike has donated. He said, just wanted to say, oh, no, that's an old one. That is anonymous. I'm sorry. OTR Mike, that was from when he wanted to brag that he won the belt. Anonymous says, for your future producer. Oh,
thank you.
We're gonna put that to the side. That's producer money right there. Producer money. Okay. I appreciate that. So he settled one person already, and to keep her from talking, he has tried to offer her more money. And actually, we've heard the story before. He's offered a lot of money not a lot of money. He's offered money to a lot of people. And they said it's just insulting what he's offering. Like, hey man, we'll give you $5,000 and some season tickets, like something like that. And one of the more damning things or jarring things, I should say, is that they're saying he was sending private investigators to these people's homes, right, in an attempt to kind of intimidate them. So, the investigator that was in charge of, investigating the team, he was just at every point trying to block her and just not working with her to get this information out. So there is a lot there, man. And look, we always put the focus on players, right? Just a couple of weeks ago, Antonio Brown forging a vaccine card was a huge deal. See, this is why you don't want this person. This is why you don't want this person. What Daniel Snyder is doing, that is what you need to talk about. That's what you want to focus on, right? That AB stuff is silly. You can laugh at it or whatever. But that's institutional, what Daniel Snyder's doing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Daniel Snyder's a terrible, terrible person. Everybody knows that. And he should have been out of the league long ago. I don't know how you survive everything that's coming out in the Washington football team investigation. The NFL needs to get together and bounce Snyder before too much longer.
Yep, I agree. And I just took us off the screen. Hold on a second. All right, we're back. My bad. I'm just pushing buttons here, guys. I'm just pushing buttons. That's all I'm doing.
All right. Next up, we have COVID spikes all over professional sports. You're seeing it in the NBA and the NFL. The NFL set a single day record for positive tests, I believe, on Monday, and they followed that up with a pretty impressive day too. And it's still going. Baker Mayfield just tested positive. They've got some more positive tests coming out. Kevin Stefanski also tested positive. So it's a question whether or not the Bengals will be kind of at full strength for their game on Saturday. But it's touching pretty much every team in the league.
Yeah. And not just in the NFL, also in the NBA. I'm a Nets fan. When the football season ends, we really kind of ramp up on the NBA talk, and we talk a lot of Lakers and Nets around here. The Nets just played a game last night and won, by the way, with 7 players. Right, half of the team was out, and Kevin Durant got it done because Kevin Durant's the man. But yes, this is all over the sports world, man. And talking with our guy OTR Mike earlier today, the county that we live in, there's been 3,700 kids that this week, I believe, that had to quarantine just this week because so many outbreaks going on all over the school system, man. So I mean, guys, this is not over by any means. Mask up, if you're vaccinated, not vaccinated, doesn't matter. Social distance, wear your mask, wash your hands, all that stuff. As our guy, our friend, rest in peace, man, David the Sports and Gamer Nerd used to always say before signing off, don't forget, wash your hands, use soap, okay? Like, yes. COVID is real out there, so definitely, protect yourself.
So I think we can move into. I mean, we'll go with the Ravens. Like, Carolina's depressing. We'll start with the Ravens and Packers.
You didn't want to do the Deion story, or you want to wait for that?
We'll wait a little bit on
that.
Okay. Big time game for Baltimore. The AFC North is kind of bunching up a little bit. Everybody has, they're all playing each other, in the last few weeks, and they all have, one fairly difficult game, right? At least one, I should say. Baltimore's got Green Bay this week. We saw they didn't look particularly good against the Bears as a team. They gave up a lot on defense. They gave up a ton on special teams. But, man, that offense was working. And that is what Baltimore needs to be concerned about. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams coming to town.
Yeah. Real quick, let me read a couple comments here. What's outrageous is one standard pack of M&Ms will run you almost $3. I know, Deshaun. I know. It's, you're talking to somebody that's addicted to chocolate here, and it's outrageous. Okay. Raven Ron, what's going on? Says Mark Andrews the number one tight end in the league. Debate me. Stat wise, he is. I'm not gonna debate you on that. Stat wise, he is. But all I'm gonna say is when the game's on the line, if you had to pick game on the line between Mark Andrews, George Kittle, right, Travis Kelce, and Darren Waller, where is he going to be ranked?
Even Kyle Pitts. I would take Kyle Pitts over Mark Andrews.
That's all I'm saying. Like where games on the line, and you have to have a go-to tight end. You have to have it's this drive. You have to get down the field, and a tight end that you trust the most. Where would you rank him? That's all I'm saying. I like Mark Andrews. It's not a shot at Mark Andrews, but look, he's playing well. It is though. Okay, so man, look, you know what? I'm not even mad, right? This is a game that if Lamar had to sit out, this is a game I would want him to sit out in, because this would be the game that they would just have him do way too much out there to try to win this game, put the team on his back, and he needs a break, right? If Tyler Huntley is as good as some of these people say that he is, right, and we know where that comes from, we're going to talk about that in a minute, they should be able to compete, right? Mm-hmm. B thinks they're going to compete. I don't think we're going to be particularly competitive, man. I think we're going to lose by at least 14 points. I really do. Tyler Huntley has played admirable up to this point, but he played against bad teams, and people are way overhyping how well he's played in these games. He has one touchdown. Yeah. Multiple turnovers. And this is a team, the Packers, man, they're rolling right now. And I just don't see it. I don't see our defense holding up. I know our defense has been playing well, but again, those against bad teams. Look, they can prove me wrong. They can impress me, but I don't see it against Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. And I just do not see it, man. But you know what? It's okay. This is a game that we can lose. Lamar is going to come back, and we only need to win 2 more games. I told you guys on Monday. We only need to beat the Bengals and the Steelers, and those are games I do believe we'll win, and we'll win the division. So this game, whatever.
Yeah, I thought they'd be competitive if Lamar played. If he doesn't, I don't think it'll be competitive. Yeah. I don't think it'll be close. And Lamar should sit out. Like you said, this is a game that they would likely lose even if he was playing. Yeah. This is a game that they have a chance to lose even if they were playing at their best. I mean, Green Bay is just a really good team. There's no guarantee you beat the Packers regardless. So with the Ravens in the state that they're in and Lamar being hurt and slumping, they need to pull him out, let him catch his breath, let him heal, and come back for their game next week. Let Tyler Huntley go out there and do what he can do. And you can, like you say, you can try. Obviously, you're going to try to compete. Hopefully, they can put some stuff together on offense. I don't really see it, but I don't think that Lamar should be out there this week, and I think that it's going to get a little ugly in M&T Bank this week.
Yeah. So, score predictions. You want to go first?
I'm going to say 38-17, Green Bay.
Yeah.
If Tyler Huntley plays.
Oh, that's a lot of points. I'm gonna say 30. I'm gonna say 31-14. No, not 14, because that means we get 2 solid touchdowns. I don't think we're gonna get. I don't think we're gonna score that many touchdowns. I'm gonna say 31-16. It's gonna be a touchdown and 3 field goals.
Now, if Lamar plays, I'm going to say 27-21 Green Bay.
Okay.
I think Lamar will inspire the troops, as it were,
all right.
And it'll be a much closer game.
Danity, what's up, Danity? She says we're losing by 20. All right. John Hazeb Ali says number 78 will kill Huntley. Griff, what's up, Griff? Says Rodgers is going to pick us apart. I do believe that. Couch Rider responded to my question about the tight ends. He says Waller, Kelce, Mandrews, Kyle Pitts. Okay. All right.
No Kittle?
Oh no, he did put. Well, he has Andrews in front of Kittle. Oh, no, not Kyle Pitts. He said Kittle and Pitts. That's what he put.
Okay.
There's no way I'm taking Andrews over Kittle in a clutch situation.
No.
No way. Kittle's probably number one for me.
Right.
Like, he doesn't put up as many numbers as Kelsey, but man, he makes those plays. Kelsey or Kittle every day of the week, King of Pugo says. Josh Hoffman says if he didn't have the drops, he'd be a number one maybe. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but he does.
But no, absolutely. I love my Andrews, but it's always the drops when we need him to make the play. When we need him to make the play, he never makes it.
Listen, if Cam didn't throw interceptions, he wouldn't get benched every week, right? But he does, and he does. So, and it is what it is. Like, that's who Mark Andrews is at this point.
Yeah. The Trib won. What's up, the Trib? He says, let Huntley play. He's an NFL starter. No, he's not.
Well, look, I mean, you'll get an extended look at him.
Yes,
he hasn't looked at it. He hasn't looked like it so far. But he's a very young player too.
Yeah. King of Puga says those QB draws on 3rd and 5 ain't going nowhere. Yeah. Raven Ron says 28-17 Ravens. Okay. All right. Rodgers O-line is weak. Oway 2 sacks. Look, I hope so, man. Like, our defensive line hasn't gotten any real pressure or anything in the last couple of weeks. We need to get back on track. I hope that's the case.
I mean, they got to him a good amount in that Chicago game. They still dropped 45 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it wasn't 40. Oh yeah. Off the Record Podcast. What's up, Mikey? He says, I hate to say it, A-Rod gonna slice and dice us. Yeah. Zeke Okage is in the house. Rodgers is going to have a day on Sunday. Look, listen. This is what's up, Davon? Davon's in the house. Hashtag LBHT crew.
Davon.
But this is a time for everybody to step up, right? It's a time for the defense to prove that they're a good defense. It's a time for Wink to prove that he's a good defensive coordinator. It's a time for Greg Roman to prove that he's a good offensive coordinator, right? Lamar ain't there to carry the team. You're playing a good team. Not saying you have to win, but don't embarrass yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they keep it close, I'll have a little bit more respect for them. I'm still going to be on the train of fire them because they have a huge track record of just not getting it done. But this will help towards, me gaining a little bit more respect for their coaching ability. So we'll see.
Yeah, Devontae Adams going to have 300 yards like Julio did on Carolina that 1 week. All right.
Kimberly Harmon says 35-9 Ravens. Wow. Wow.
I mean, can they score 35 with Lamar? I don't know.
All right. Tough Puppy's in the house. What's up? He says, I made it to 2 streams in a row. Yes, Tough Puppy. Yes, you made it. And Josh Hoffman says, I think people are underestimating the Ravens defense. They will somehow keep it close. I have no idea how. That's my prediction. Well, I don't think you can underestimate a team like they are what they are. And you don't know how they're going to do it. You're just being a fan, which is fine. But that's not underestimating the team. That's
I don't think you can't say underestimate them and then I have no idea how they're going to play well.
Yeah, look. As a fan, like I get it. You're gonna say, look, we're gonna find a way to get it done. Cool, but it's not underestimating one of the worst passing defenses in the league, right? Statistically, by saying Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, is going to light them up, especially when we don't have 2 of our starting cornerbacks out there. That's not far-fetched to say, right?
Yeah.
Now they can shock everybody, but it is what it is. All right. So keeping on the Ravens theme, right? I teased this out on Monday, right? After Lamar went down and Tyler Huntley came in and played well enough to almost bring us back to win the game. A lot of those low key haters started to show up, started to pop up, and it caught a lot of you by surprise. Like, man, what's up with all these people saying this stuff about Lamar? Like, hey, we don't need to sign Lamar. We got Tyler Huntley. Real talk. Tyler Huntley been playing better than Lamar. Every time he goes in there, we're moving the ball, right? People say stuff like that, and you wonder where it comes from. Well, they've always been there, right? You just didn't see the signs, right? Like, haters have to find creative ways to hate on somebody when that player is doing really well, right? Because if you're just openly saying just hater stuff, right? At first, they'll call you a hater. Then they're like, man, this person's kind of dumb. Like, like you keep saying these things, it's not true, right? That's what's going on with Lamar, right? There's a lot of talk about Lamar not being a quarterback when he got drafted. And he quickly disproved that in his first year. Then it's just like, oh, well, he's a running quarterback, or, what if he gets hurt, or, he's not going to develop as a passer. Like you saw all that in the media, but a lot of people eat that up, right? Mm-hmm. Even Ravens fans, there's a lot of Ravens fans that don't really ride with Lamar, but you can't be a Ravens fan and just be hating on Lamar, especially when he becomes league MVP, leading the league in touchdowns, right? Just looking great. So they keep pushing the goalposts just slightly to where they're not that noticed, but now the wheels are falling off on this team. He can't carry them anymore. And yes, he got hurt, but it's not a long-term injury, but they couldn't contain themselves. Now it's, they're taking a victory lap because they had it pent up for so long, right? Mm-hmm. So now you're just seeing it everywhere because they've always hated Lamar. But I'm going to help you guys out because, it caught a lot of you by surprise and you're wondering, like, what's up with all this Lamar hate? So I'm going to show you how to spot. I'm going to give you a few keys on how to spot a Lamar hater, right? The first key, the first hint is rankings, right? When you're talking to Ravens fans, right, that say, "Oh, I love Lamar. I just don't think he's a best quarterback." That's fair, right? You got Mahomes, you got Aaron Rodgers, you got Russell Wilson. You got a lot of really good, really great quarterbacks. Even Tom Brady is playing great, right? You could say, "Hey, I rank him 5th, right? He's a top 5." Okay, cool. But when they say he's ranked 11th, right? I think Kirk Cousins is better than him. Yeah. Taylor Heineke or whatever, right? Like when they say something you're just like, huh? Like what? Matt Stafford is really a better quarterback than Lamar if we're being real about it.
Yeah, but he was just playing in Detroit.
Yeah, he was just playing in Detroit with Megatron and just all the best wide receivers you can think of. But yeah, little things like that. That's a good sign right there. Not, if they say Lamar isn't the best, he's, got him top 3, top 5, or, 6 or whatever, right? Okay, that's fair. But when they start saying, he's like, 8th, 9th, 10th, I got him behind Kirk Cousins. I got him behind Josh Allen. I got him behind whatever, right? That's when you guys, scratch your head a little bit. They'll say something like Derek Carr. Like they'll throw a player in there. You just kind of like, what are you talking about?
I've seen a couple of Ravens fans say that Baker Mayfield is clearly better than Lamar.
Yeah.
Clearly.
See, stuff like that, right? All right. The second one is, it's when they're hyper focused on every bad throw Lamar makes, right? Every bad throw. Right, Lamar could go 23 for 30, 265 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, right? And they will focus on those seven incompletions, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, he has to be more accurate, like, oh man, like that's, he played okay. Yeah, he didn't have any interceptions, but it could have been an interception. Yeah, like, he could have had 4 touchdowns instead of 3 touchdowns, but he just overthrew that guy or whatever, right? Like, every quarterback plays that way. Every single quarterback has throws like that in every game, right? They all have throws where they wish they can take back or, it was a little off. Usually those quarterbacks are paired with great wide receivers, so even when they're a little off, those wide receivers can make the adjustments, right? But when they're that focused on the mistakes, even when he plays well, mm-hmm. That's another sign. Look, again, in all these cases, not saying they're bona fide haters, but it's definitely something that you take note of, right? When you're talking to them, you got to study them. You got to look for these other traits, right? So the next trait, financial advisors. Financial advisors, right? Who are the financial advisors, right? They're the ones that are always like, man, Lamar's got to, like, he got to be smart. He got to take this deal. right? You got to take this deal because if he doesn't take it now and he can get hurt, it's like he's never going to play again. Like he's going to go from making $40 million per year to, league minimum if he gets hurt, right? Like that's
my favorite thing about the financial advisors also are the ones where it's not Lamar, right? It's not Lamar, but Baltimore shouldn't sign him right now. We should wait and build up the rest of the team. Take that extra year, make use of that extra year. Why not? And then then you can sign him later. Because what does it matter? If he's the guy, he's the guy. But don't sign him right now. When you're saying don't sign Lamar right away, you're saying I don't believe in Lamar.
Yeah,
because the price goes up every year.
What was the biggest red flag? Who was that guy? Who was it in the media that was just like we should draft Justin Fields?
Oh yeah, that was Bucky.
Bucky let me down, man. I'm sure that was just probably one of those things. They got into their pre-production meeting in the studio and they said, Bucky, just say this. And Bucky might even said, I can't say that. That's ridiculous. And they're just like, look, you want to get paid? He was like, yes. But yes, like people say stuff like that, right? And if you're saying, oh, we shouldn't, we should wait to pay him, or we should go to, look to draft this player or whatever, that means you don't really feel him like that, right? And if you don't like him, you don't like him. But don't disguise your hate, right? Just be real about it and say it. All right, the next trait are the ones that love to talk about his play style, right? He's a running quarterback, and his style is what fits, and it fits G-Ro's his offensive scheme. That's why we need to keep Greg Roman around.
That and it's well, listen, he's a running quarterback and he's great at it. He's the best at it. But that's just you just can't win like that.
Yeah, you can't win like that, or if he loses a step, right? Or he gets hurt, like he's hurt now. He hurt his ankle. How's he going to look when he comes back? He's not going to be able to run like he used to. Maybe we should put in Tyler Huntley because Tyler Huntley can run.
It's funny because I saw Joe Banner talking about Lamar after he got hurt in the pocket, and that's one of the dangers of a running quarterback. But apparently, Josh Allen got hurt running in his game.
Yeah,
and there wasn't anything to say about it.
It's funny because I didn't even realize it because that's how little it got talked about. I only realized it when I guess Rex Ryan made some comment about like toe expert or something, and people were teasing him, and it just didn't get talked about at all. And like, what's the difference, right? Like, what's the difference between the play styles? There's no difference, right? Yeah. Both can run and both can pass, right? But no, there's a difference.
The difference between their play styles is one of them can withstand playing in the sun a lot longer than the other. That's the difference.
No, I'll tell you the difference. The difference is Josh Allen has a competent offensive coordinator, right? That realizes it ain't just about his running ability. The man can pass, right? Look, how much does race play a factor into it? I don't know. I think it does. I think it does. Like, will that same coordinator treat Lamar Jackson the same way? I don't know. My guess is probably not, right? That's just how they look at Lamar or quarterbacks like him when he comes into the league. He's super athletic and he can do a lot with his feet. He can make a lot of plays, and it's laziness, right? It's, man, well, we don't need to fix the O-line. We don't need to really scheme up a complex passing scheme because, one, they don't really believe he can learn it, and two, it's a lot of work for the coaches, and three, there's like, well, what he's doing now works. Let's just keep going that way. So it's a lot of laziness to go around. But yeah, it's all right. Well, we'll get more on that in a minute. But let's go to the last point. The I told you crowd. Okay. Now this is where we're at now. This is the phase where we're at now, where everybody's like, damn, where this come from? Right? The I told you crowd. They've been holding this all in. They've been giving you all these hints, right? That they secretly hate Lamar, and they don't want to be the one out there on their own saying, I don't like this guy. right? Because he's doing everything right. Everybody loves him, and they don't want to stand there on their own saying, I hate Lamar. But Lamar has been playing well the last few weeks, and now he's hurt, and now they think they can take the victory lap, right? Who was it, B, that sent us that DM on Twitter today? I forget your name, man. But shout out to you. He sent us a video. This was
Trevon Howard.
Trevon, man. Thanks for sending that video. I took a look at it. I mean, that guy, he went on a long rant. I wasn't gonna listen to that whole thing. I'm not even gonna give that guy any kind of shout out on this video. But this guy did this long rant about the Ravens. I'm guessing he's a Ravens fan. And he was just like, I told you guys, he's not the answer. I've been telling you guys he's not the answer. Right? Now, I was like, he's been telling he's not the answer? Because I'm looking at this guy's channel and he covers wrestling. So I looked through, I'm like, when has he ever done a video with the Ravens? I couldn't find one. So this man been hating so much, so hard that he's like, not only can I not say anything, I can't even talk about football. I gotta talk about wrestling, right? Because I can't contain my hate enough. So let me just talk about something else. And now the Lamar is hurt, and he thought, oh, this could be the end of Lamar. Okay, I gotta break character now. Yeah, I told you. I told you Lamar's terrible. Right? He just went on this long rant, right? That's what you're seeing now. You're it's a culmination of they didn't really think he can do it, and the things that the media keeps talking about that they low key agree with. They think that's what they're seeing now, but in reality, what you're seeing is just you're seeing a failure of the front office to not put a good O-line around Lamar, a poor offensive coordinator, and but yeah, Lamar's in a little bit of slump, which every quarterback goes through. Doesn't matter how good they are. We just saw it with Pat Mahomes, right?
Yeah, you just saw it with Russell Wilson too.
Yeah,
there were a few years where people were saying Aaron Rodgers is on the downside.
Yes.
Now, he was still playing well, but he wasn't playing as well as Aaron normally does, right?
Yeah.
But it's something like you said, every player goes through, and normally it's fine.
Yeah.
But with certain quarterbacks, it's not okay. And Baltimore is in that position right now where they have to be careful, because this is the exact same thing that happened with Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Cam Newton came in, he played well, he won MVP, he tore the league up, made a lot of people really angry, and then they didn't support him. They never got an O-line around him. They never really got receivers around him until the very, very end of his time in Carolina.
Yeah.
And they played him when he was hurt, when he had a shoulder injury. They made him play through that, and he looked bad. And to this day, now everybody outside of Carolina looks at him like, no, he was never really that good. It was a fluke MVP year. Cam can't play. And that's not because Cam can't play. Cam was supremely talented. Yeah. But it was because the Panthers organization never properly supported him, and they ruined his career.
Yeah. And you told me from the get-go, I remember we had these conversations, and you said it when we first started the podcast, that, you could see the Ravens doing the same thing with Lamar that the Panthers have done with Cam. And I kind of argued with you in the beginning, because I was just like, nah, this organization knows better. But I'm seeing a lot of similar traits, man. And look, it's still early, but that's why I think this offseason is very critical for everybody involved, right? Because Eric DeCosta, even though he gets a lot of praise, he don't have the same type of security as Ozzie, nor should he. And, I want to see what kind of GM he's, what is he made of as a GM, right? Is he going to say, hey, I don't like what I'm seeing with Lamar. Changes need to be made. I've been bringing in a lot of players, and you're not developing them. You gotta do something, John Harbaugh. We're gonna see what John Harbaugh is made of, because really, like I said on Monday, if John Harbaugh on his own says these two, Wink and Greg Roman, aren't getting it done, I need to make a change, that will go a long way in terms of how they feel about John Harbaugh in that front office, and even me, right, as a fan, like him being able to recognize what's working and what's not working. And also Lamar has to kind of, find his voice and say, I'm not okay with what's going on. Fix this, or I'm not resigning. right?
Yeah.
Don't do what Cam did. Cam never did that. And that's on him, right?
Yeah.
Let me read some of these comments here. Josh Hoffman says, Lamar hater hunters are making me more mad lately. They come at people, and I've not only team Lamar, but I said no limits on his passing from week 16, 2018. People thought I was nuts. No, I agree. He can pass. He can make all the passes. We just don't have a coordinator that can do it. Not only that, like we have a coordinator, like he's never been that type of coordinator, right? So to say this was best for Lamar, this isn't what Lamar did in college, right? Lamar played a pro style offense. This is the opposite of what Lamar had before.
Lamar had he had identical passing numbers just about to Baker Mayfield, who went number 1 overall. It's just that he also ran for 1,500 yards.
Yes.
And so people looked right past the passing numbers and said, oh, this guy's a runner.
Yeah. Dandy says they want to see the black players on this team fail. That's just reality. And that's another thing that YouTuber said too, right? Just unprovoked, like, this isn't a black or white thing. Yes, it is. It is.
Then why'd you
bring it up, right? Like you're going on this rant, you were just flowing, you're just like, yeah, Lamar Jackson, I told you, and that black. I mean, well, it's not a black or white thing. It's just, my best friend is black,
But yeah, and like you said, this offseason is, I think this is make or break right here for Eric DeCosta, because you came in, you traded an all-pro or a Pro Bowl right tackle, and you did nothing to replace him. Now, either that's going to be a huge wake-up call to Eric DeCosta, and they're going to stack up on the O-line, or you're going to see that Eric DeCosta don't care. And either he doesn't care about Lamar, or he just doesn't know how to build a team. It's similar to Carolina with Matt Rule, right? And I wanted to mention this when we were talking about whether or not another coach would use Lamar the same way they use Josh Allen and things like that. Yeah. That's what you call implicit bias, right? You look at a certain player and you're like, oh, well, he's this type of player. Yeah. And you hear that a lot generally with race, but it exists in everything, right? Carolina doesn't have a left tackle right now because Matt Rule thinks if your arms are a certain length, you can't play left tackle. That's why they didn't draft Rashawn Slater. They drafted Brady Christensen later, and he was a left tackle all throughout his college career.
Which is so stupid. It's stupid on his part. It's stupid on Tepper's part to give this first-time head coach coming from college that kind of control to where he can make that type of determination. He don't know nothing about the NFL.
Well, look, it's not just Rule. There's a lot of guys that that's a thing, right? There's hand size for quarterback, there's arm length for offensive linemen. But they drafted Brady Christensen. He was a full-time left tackle at BYU, and they won't let him play tackle. They won't let him play left tackle in the NFL because he just doesn't think he can do it because of his arm length. So you see that a lot in the NFL. It's not a league for progressive thinkers. It's not a league for change, and so you have a lot of players get wasted because coaches are set in their ways. Yeah.
All right, maybe a couple more comments, and then we'll bring D Weezy on for the lunch money bets. All right, Mikey from Off the Record Podcast says just 4 to 5 weeks ago he was going to win another MVP. Now all of a sudden he can't play. Stop it. Hashtag haters going to hate. That's right. And also, man, I told you guys before, man, I know you guys are subscribed to Off the Record Podcast. They took a little break, but they back now. Okay, go check them out. Mikey just put up a video on YouTube, right? He's interviewing what's your friend's name? Jay. He has this company. He's an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur from the area, and has a great story. Right. Talks about like the struggles he had, starting up his business and everything. So if you're the entrepreneur mindset, great interview to watch. So make sure you go check that out. Okay. Andre Mears 86 says, let's talk about these people with the Lamar foolishness. People act like they remember where we were at before Lamar. Yeah.
Missing the playoffs 4 out of 5 years. 4 and 5, even though they had the number 1 defense in the NFL in Lamar's rookie year when they were starting Joe Flacco. That's what it was like without Lamar.
Yep. Big Red says Baker's trash. He's been playing like trash, man. I joked about it. I was like, hey, Baker might be out this weekend. They might actually have a chance to win. But I don't know. They might. Matt Williams says, didn't Heineke get destroyed last week? Yeah, Heineke's not good. I just use it as an example. Like, you know, like you can replace Heineke with whoever, right? Just people just throw those little. They'll throw a player in there, like, oh, you know, like, man, if we're being real, like this player's better than Lamar. Like that's just their way of saying they don't really like Lamar, right? But you know, when he's doing what he does, you know, like Mikey said a couple weeks ago, when he's throwing, you know, 5 touchdowns in the game and bringing his team back, right? Like you can't talk then, right? He's done everything.
It's a fluke.
Yeah. Danny says, when they praise Nick Boyle for blocks more than they do Lamar for fourth quarter comebacks. Yeah, absolutely. JP says, this franchise has no room to raise their nose to anything Lamar has done. This is the same franchise that honestly dealt with Kyle Bowler as a starting QB. Yes.
And Chris Redmond and Tony Banks and
Elvis Gerbach.
Whole lot of trash in Baltimore's history.
Yeah.
Whole lot of trash.
Okay. All right. It's time. It's time for you gambling degenerates. And if you're not a gambling degenerate and you're new to it, right? And you have questions, you thought about placing some bets. I know Maryland's getting ready to start up the sports betting, or have they started already?
I think it started already.
Yeah, they started already, right? And you're thinking about placing some bets. You just have questions about gambling in general, right? Our guy D Weezy is the man to talk to. Okay, he can answer your questions, and there he is. D Weezy's in the house. What's going on, my friend?
What's going on, Derek?
What's going on, fellas?
Man, we're here, man. We're here. You know, we just you know, we just telling people to look out for COVID and look out for the haters. All right. How did we do last week?
Well, the fade train was back in full effect, like I said in the chat earlier. Yeah, so you know that means it was a rough day for me, but if those out there that have been fading me like I've been telling people to do, it was a wonderful day. You might as well have parlayed that because it was a sweep across the board. Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter what game it is, you know. Cleveland beating Baltimore 24-6 at halftime. Oh yeah, that's, you know, that's in the bag. Doesn't score another point. Baltimore puts up 22 points.
Not a big Tyler
Browns
Huntley fan
win
right now.
and don't cover. Yeah, so you know, like I've said before, you can have the best angles, you can have it all figured out. You know, I was sitting in the stadium at the Panthers game looking at the score for that game going, hey, at least I got that going on for me because I'm stuck here watching the Panthers play right now. But, and you know, see things wrapped up, check the final score, and what do I see? Nope, lost. So, yeah, like I've said, if, you know, for whatever reason, fade me. That's what it is. That's what you got to do. If I, you know, 0-5, you fade me, you foul. That just seems to be what the NFL's been for me this year.
I do want to say this real quick.
My picks this week.
Before you start your picks, I do want to say, if you are a part of a Patreon and you join our Discord, okay, there's a channel on there called Lunch Money Bets, and if you're, you know, the opposite of the NFL, if you're following him on the NBA, you are making money. Lots and lots of money. He has been on fire on his NBA picks. So, you know, if you're into NBA stuff too, I'm just saying, look, he gives you a few. He gives you a few.
Last week,
go ahead.
Just the past week, I made a 3-day stretch where I went 12-0, not a single loss.
There you go.
Yeah. So all right, so we'll give them the NFL picks, right? And if they want more, they can follow us on our Discord. You can sign up for as little as $3. Like Deshaun said, one king size pack of M&Ms now. Okay, not two. One king size pack will get you into the Discord.
All right, so I'm gonna get down into my picks this week. Looking at the first game, we got Philadelphia and the Washington football team. You know, you see Washington through all the drama and nonsense in the media. That affects teams in different ways. I'm not sure if that's necessarily that'll come into play. I believe Jalen Hurts is going to be out there and maybe not fully healthy, but he's going to be the better quarterback of the two on the field, most likely. I think Philly is going to ball out a little bit. The defense isn't going to come through for Washington. Philly's going to cover that 7-point spread. It's a bit of a large number, so clearly the books think that Philly is the one to go for in that game. And that's the one I'm going to be riding this week, going with Philly -7. The next game I got, I was looking at Denver and Cincinnati. As everybody saw, Burrow had that incident with the finger and all that, and we don't fully know how that's going to affect him. Being on his throwing hand, different people throw the ball differently. He may grip it with that pinky. He may not even put the pinky on the ball fairly much. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him run the ball more, try and go to the screen game, stuff that's easier on the hand and not generating as much force and torque through that throwing motion. But I think Denver's defense is going to step up like we've seen them do. We've seen them, stop stout offenses. And I'm going to be on Denver -2.5. Y'all mentioned Huntley earlier, with Baltimore. Well, at my book, they don't even have a lineup for the Baltimore Packers game yet, because that's how much of a swing somebody like Lamar Jackson playing and not playing is going to do. Not to say that the Baltimore Ravens would be the favorite going into that game, but you're talking about potentially the difference between a 4-point spread and a 9.5, 10-point spread. And those are a lot of points. You're talking about playing a game completely different with those two different spreads. So, yes, I do not actually have a Baltimore pick for this week. If you're in the Discord, I might have something for you, later on if something comes out closer to Sunday, game day. But, yeah, as it stands right now, the fact that Lamar Jackson's starting ability is up in the air, it's that much of a swing to where I can't get a line at the moment.
That's crazy.
So I will have 5 picks this week. Yeah, it is. It's surprising, one player affecting something like the spread that heavily. Going into my next game, looking at Buffalo and Carolina, I think early in the season, people thought that this would have been a better matchup and things like that. Honestly, I think Carolina is going to struggle to not necessarily stop Buffalo's offense. The defense has basically disappeared. There's no real answers to explain what's going on, because we saw injuries hit the defense and the defense still stood strong. And we saw that same consistent play week to week. And here in the past 4 or 5 weeks, you've seen that defense not show up in more times than not. So I'm not shocked that coming into this game, Buffalo is -10.5 favorites. I'm going to be on Buffalo. So who knows? Maybe that means that Carolina is going to win outright in this game and go just spit in McDermott and Bean's face and, mine as well, because I'm going to be on Buffalo -10.5 with that big number.
Okay.
Moving on to the next game, which is another NFC South matchup. We got Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. Now, if they're going to put Taysom Hill out there with a broken finger on his throwing hand, which clearly hindered his ability to move the ball through the air, regardless of what it was, Tampa Bay -10.5. I don't care what the score is. Give me Brady -10.5. I don't think, if the logic is don't bet against Brady, hey, enough said. Time and time again, And so you give me something like Brady versus a team with a quarterback with an injured throwing hand that isn't really a quarterback, or at least, not a legitimate quarterback threat. Yeah, I'll definitely take the spread Tampa Bay there, -10.5. Going into the last game of the week, I got Miami versus Chicago, or not Miami, excuse me. Minnesota versus Chicago, another divisional matchup. We see a lot of those games this time of year. Minnesota's favored -3.5. I'm going to be on Minnesota. I'm actually on the favorite in every matchup this week. Underdogs have come through, but I do think in these divisional times, you do see some of the teams start to separate from each other. we saw Buffalo play pretty strong last week. That's why I expect some of the same out of them this week. We saw a strong Carolina-Atlanta game between two bad teams where, even late in those games, those teams were fighting it out. So in this Minnesota-Chicago game, I've not been a big fan of Chicago's offense all season long. It didn't matter who was out there. You could easily make money off of Chicago team points unders. I'm going to be on Minnesota minus the 3.5 on the game spread. People say what they will about Kirk Cousins and the primetime games and all that. And I believe this is the Sunday night matchup, I think.
This is Monday.
But I'm going to be looking more Monday night matchup. I'm going to be looking at more at somebody like Dalvin Cook. He had that breakout that we saw this past week. So, yeah, Dalvin Cook and the defense for the Vikings, that's who I'm going to be relying on to, secure that and cover the 3.5 point spread.
All right. And our guy Raven Ron is here. He has his parlay. He says Degenerate Ron is back. I got mortgages to pay. 3-team parlay. Chargers, Chiefs over 52.5. He's got 49ers -9 and Titans -1.5. What are your thoughts, D Weezy?
Yes, that over two high-powered offenses, that game might look something more like a Big 12 matchup, West Coast matchup you see in college.
Yeah.
You said 52.5?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we see that number get over 60 live. Not to say that it'll go over 60. You're talking about, at least needing 2 more scores to go. When you start talking about covering game totals, it's a little different than the spread, but I like that over for the game total there. The -9 with the Niners, I do think the possibility that Shanahan comes in wanting to stick it to his old team is always a strong possibility. I think Kyle Shanahan is that type of cocky mindset. He won't necessarily try and show it in your face until he's done it.
Yeah.
And so to have that opportunity, I think they're playing in Atlanta. Go to Atlanta, come, kick the dirt in their face, rub it in, and be like, ha, I got the better team, better organization, and I still stuck it to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, that was something I looked at. I wasn't sure that I could go with almost 3 double-digit spreads on my picks for the week. But that was a game I had my eye on. And then go ahead.
No, I'm saying, what about the Titans?
And, I heard maybe who was it? Julio might be back, and
yeah, he's back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the injury status on who is it? AJ Brown.
I believe he's still out.
Yeah, he's still out.
Okay, that's what I thought. Honestly, I don't know if we're going to get much out of Julio. We hadn't seen that as much as people expected when he got sent to Tennessee. That's the one that concerned me. I looked at that game for this week, small spread like that. If anything, maybe are they favored in that game?
Yes, they're -1.5 is what they're favored at.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I could see them winning that game for sure.
Okay. All right. There you have it. All right, D Weezy with his picks, man. Make sure you lock those in. All right, and if you want some more of that, you can follow his channel, Lunch Money Bets, which you can find on Discord. All right, and you just, for as little as $3 a month, you can sign up for it. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. He also likes to hang out with us on the Overtime Show, which happens right after this show ends. So, make sure you check him out. And also, he does Panthers articles on our website, lbhtshow.com. All right, Derek, thank you very much, man. We're going to see you in a little bit.
All right, everybody take care out there, y'all.
Thank you, Derek.
All right. We got to get to the Panthers. I mean, that's one of the main things. Yes, I know you were trying to hide it because at the end of the show, but
I wasn't trying to hide it per se. But I mean, Derek covered it, right? Like, they've been playing awful. The defense hasn't been showing up. They're sticking with the dual quarterback thing. They're going to be playing Newton and Walker. Rule said that you can't turn the ball over twice, in back-to-back weeks. He didn't go to the two quarterback thing when Darnold did that, but whatever. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, they don't have any answers. They just don't.
Well,
the O-line is still terrible. They're not getting the kind of production that they had hoped for out of the receivers. Obviously Christian McCaffrey's out. And Cam has to play better. I don't want to say PJ Walker has to play better. He has to not play. But it's just, like I said, it's spiraling out of control. The season is coming to an end. I don't think there's really going to be any relief there. I think they're going to look pretty bad for the last 4 weeks, and Rule, may be out at that point.
All right. So, look, Sam Darnold. He came back this week. He's practicing. What do you think? What do you think his role will be on this team?
I don't think that I don't think he's going to be actually back and active anytime soon.
Okay.
They have a 3-week window to put him back on the roster. I don't know that he's actually going to come back. I mean, for what at that point?
Right.
I think that they're going to stick with Cam and Walker. They're just going to ride it out, and they're going to try. I'm sure they'll try to move Sam Darnold. I think they'll end up just cutting him and kind of eating that dead cap. But it's those are kind of secondary questions, because the biggest question in Carolina, as soon as the season ends, is who's your head coach? Are you going to bring back Matt Rule and give him one more chance to try to turn it around, or are you going to cut bait and try to get somebody else in there?
I still feel like there's a disconnect, man. I feel like there's not a disconnect. I feel like Matt Rule's just not getting it, right? I feel like David Tepper sent a clear message saying Cam's going to be your guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that first bad game he had against Miami and they took him out, I think, that definitely played a role into Joe Brady getting fired, right? Because even if he just played bad and they just kind of worked through it and he kind of came back a little bit, and they're just like, hey, look, he's new here, and we're gonna get him up to speed, and that's not a problem. We're not worried about it. I think Joe Brady might have kept his job, but it was kind of that defeatist attitude, like, see, he just doesn't fit what we do, and they're like, all right, well then, poof, you're gone, right?
Yeah.
And then just this dual quarterback thing, I don't think Tepper is with it, man. And right after that game, you're hearing from just multiple players, former players, saying, "Oh, Rule's got to go." And like you said, that doesn't come from anywhere, just out of nowhere, right? That's coming from somewhere. So I think he's not getting all the signs. So yeah, Sam Darnold comes back, even if he's 100%, he needs to not be 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, it could be this week for Rule, right?
Yeah.
You're playing Buffalo, who is Carolina North.
Yes.
They've got Carolina's former defensive coordinator, Carolina's former assistant GM, and Brandon Beane. They've got a lot of former Carolina players. If they come in and they put a beating on Carolina, which, I mean, is very, very possible, Matt Rule might just be out at this point.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I do think that Carolina goes down to Buffalo. I think that they are going to lose by at least 2 touchdowns, probably more.
The thing with Buffalo is, man, they're up and down. Some games they look like they're the best team in the league, and then other games
they're gonna be way up this week.
Yeah, because McDermott is a good coach, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And usually good coaches, good teams, no matter how they're looking at to start out the season, they get it together towards the end of the season, and it's time for them to start getting it together. Yeah, I think 2 scores. I think you're right, man. I'm gonna say 31-14.
Yeah,
31-14.
I'm not gonna put a number on it. I think they win by at least 14, probably more. It's gonna be ugly for Carolina this week.
Unless unless Matt Rule gets it and says, all right, we're going with Cam no matter what. We're 100% behind him. Cam has to play better, like you said, right? We're not excusing how he plays, but he can play better, right? Mm-hmm. And if he does, they could win the game.
he can play better, but the offensive line can't.
True.
And apparently the defense can't.
Yeah, that's
we've seen evidence of it, but I don't know where it's at.
That's the key. That defense, man, they need to find themselves again. Omar B says 35-31. Wait, 35-31 who? You saying no, wait, I think he's talking about the Ravens game.
Yeah.
I think he's talking about the Ravens game. All right, okay, let's start with bonus time real quick. We're going to do a quick bonus time. We didn't even get to the Deion story. We might have to save that for overtime. Yeah. Or you want to talk about it right now? We can talk about it.
We can talk about it now. Right. So, is it Jackson State or Jacksonville State? I always get
Jackson State University.
Yes. Okay, that's where Deion is head coach. Deion also has a deal with Barstool. You know, he was working for them. And National Signing Day is, I believe, tomorrow. Is like the official kind of National Signing Day. But Deion Sanders' alma mater, Florida State, had the #1 recruit in the country, and his name was Travis something. I forget his last name now. Travis Hunter, corner, played corner. You know, went to DBU, Florida State University, and apparently just flipped to Jackson State. He got a nice NIL deal from Barstool, and he's going to Jackson State University, which up until this point, the highest ranked recruit who had ever gone to an FCS school was ranked about 142 or so.
Yeah.
And that was Jackson State last year. They got a couple of 4-star receivers or 4-star players. But prior to that, you know, you would see guys, you know, in the 600s and everything going to those FCS schools. But yeah, Travis Hunter, the #1 overall, or the #1 player overall in the country, the #1 high school player, going to Jackson State to play for Coach Prime. And college football purists are not happy.
I love it. I just want to point out, too. You know, that's the #1 recruit in the country. And look, Florida State didn't get him, but there's also somebody else that didn't get him. You know who that was, B? Nick Saban. You know why? Because Deion's more popular.
No, because Barstool wrote the check.
Look, no, I love it though, right? Because look, there's a reason why me and B don't cover college football or college sports really at all. It's because we just don't like the way this cartel that they've created, where they make billions of dollars and the players get nothing, right? Yeah. And then you have these Power 5 conference schools that get all the money, they get all the talent, and everybody else just falls to the wayside because it's not a level playing field no matter what they tell you, right? And they always say, oh, if you introduce money, then it'll just be the schools will have all the money that will be able to compete, and everybody else will be able to compete. That's what it is now. Yeah. Right. But now something like this happens where you're allowed to pay players and they can actually start making choices, you know, based off of, you know, money and, you know, just like, you know, areas that they like and all that stuff. Like they can make more career type choices as they should. And people are looking at it like it's a bad thing. These players, you know, like they work their butts off to get to where they're at. They deserve to be paid for it. And I'm glad that this kid coming out of high school can make it was like $2 million or something like that.
I'm looking now. I'm not seeing the exact number, but that's they're saying it looks like a couple million maybe.
I think that's great. And that is what these college football purists, and when you say purists, you know, they mean purists in terms of, you know, the Power 5, right? The Power 5 conferences, the Big 10 and Pac-12 and the, you know, SEC, really just SEC, what we're talking about, SEC and, you know, the Big 12 or whatever. But this is how it starts, man, right? These smaller schools, you know, they get a coach like Prime there, they get a sponsorship, and then they can start pulling away from the top players, for you know, those top players from those top schools, because of course he'll go there. He gets paid just like he can get paid at Alabama. He's going to go to the league the same way, because nowadays every school gets scouted, right? He's going to a HBCU, right? And he doesn't have to sit behind anybody.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to go in there and sit for 3 years before he gets a shot to play. He can play immediately.
Yeah, and like you said, it's the people who have been in control, who have been benefiting off of unpaid labor for all this time, who are really upset about this happening. Gene Chizik tweeted out earlier. Gene Chizik was the former Auburn coach. He was there when Cam was there and won the national championship. He tweeted out, every scholarship offensive lineman at University of Tennessee will get $50,000 per year with new NIL deal. Not to mention the $200,000 education, which is not a $200,000 education, but whatever.
Right.
Americans struggle finding $50,000 jobs to feed their children. Next, it's $100,000 per player with no end in sight. Flawed system with 4 exclamation points. Most money wins. # words of Chisholm.
You know what he didn't tweet out? He didn't tweet out his salary when he was there.
Well, no, because he didn't need to. Okay, because the very first reply was from Timothy Burke, who used to run Deadspin back when it was Deadspin. He said,
the defector.
Yeah, you made $20 million off unpaid players, 11.5 million of which you got to go away because you were so awful.
Ooh.
So yeah, and it's just not a good look to be here complaining about guys getting $50,000 to play college football when you're a multi-millionaire and never have to work again.
Those are people that I absolutely hate, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Because they're being so disingenuous. $20 million, he could have taken $5 million of that to pay his players, right? And he'd have been fine.
And again, 11.5 of it to get fired.
Yes. Yeah.
He didn't even earn it.
Yeah.
He didn't even earn the $20 million he got.
No. College is amateurs. It's amateurs, right? You're coaching amateurs, but you're getting paid like a pro, and you're not even as good as the pro coaches.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Much worse, in fact.
But when the players get their money, you want to cry about it, man? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Go
away.
Why
that's why the Clemson era is over.
Yeah.
Because Dabo is big on that train, right? He calls it's entitlement for players to want anything for themselves.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be able to survive in the future of college football as it looks like right now.
All right, we're gonna read a few comments. We can get out of here. We went a little late, but we want to get to these stories. So put your comments in there. Anything you want to talk about? You want to get to some Raven stuff real quick? We'll just spend a couple minutes, and then we'll continue to talk on the Overtime Show. If you want to be part of the Overtime Show, patreon.com/LBHT Show. Okay. Yeah, Mikey says Dabble is pissed. Yep, that's right. Davon says yes, prime time. Let's see. Oh, Jay's here. What's up, Jay? Huh?
Oh, okay. I was saying shout out to Davon. He made it to the playoffs of our fantasy football league. The playoffs are starting next week.
Nice.
We've got, I just wanted to read it out real quick here. We got our guy Deshaun, the number 2 seed, Team Stoner, going up against Mr. Bigby, the SC Kings. We've got our guy Caleb with the Lone Stars taking on Feed Me More with Jalen.
Okay.
Davon, he's the 4 seed. He's going up against the other Caleb in our Patreon, KD Squad. And our dad, the Charlestown Chargers, earning the number 1 seed.
Number 1 seed.
And a first round bye with an 11-3 record. Didn't have a all season long. Couldn't find a wide receiver. Couldn't find a second running back. Was out there playing Jameis Winston and Trevor Siemian and just winning every week. It's disgusting.
Look, you guys need to do something, okay? Because I get random calls at random times of the day or at night. I'll be taking my afternoon nap. I get a call, but hey, I just want you to know I'm the number 1 seed. you need to do something about this.
All he wants for Christmas is some brackets to hang up his belt. It's nonsense, man. All of you have failed us.
If you were going to let us win, you can't let our dad win. Don't let that happen.
No.
Let's see. Raven Ron says, well, my core maker went to Howard now. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Now in overseas, getting 5 points, 5 rebounds a game. Not sold on going to HBCUs. Yet.
I mean,
it has
not because he went to an HBCU.
No, yeah. I mean, he is what he is. But it's got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to start getting those upper tier players. So I mean,
it's not like he would have gone to a big time school and got developed. That's not what happens in
like
college basketball.
like you use one example. Like how many big time recruits go to these big time schools and are trash in the NFL or in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Like it happens all the time, but they get hundreds of these kids, so it doesn't matter, right? Like we see guys that they're not even bust, right? Like they'll be 5-star recruits. They go to Alabama, they go to USC, they go to Ohio State, and they're drafted in the 5th round because they just aren't that good, right? I mean that's just part of it. So I think this is a big first step. This is a big first step, and I'm glad that happened. I hope you can grab more. Jake P says y'all picking LaFleur to coach a better game over Harbaugh.
Yes.
Yeah, like LaFleur's he's a fine coach. I don't think he's the greatest coach in the world. Look, I think Harbaugh's a better coach than LaFleur, right? Like I'm not hating on Harbaugh, but this ain't about Harbaugh and LaFleur, right? It's about everything else. LaFleur has a much better team around, out there on that field. Aaron Rodgers
and John Harbaugh's not calling the plays.
Right. And I was gonna say, you talking about the coordinators, offense and defensive side, right? Now, if you want to talk about special teams, okay, John Harbaugh gonna have the advantage there.
Oh yeah, Baltimore's special teams gonna wreck Green Bay special teams.
So
unfortunately, as you saw with Chicago, it's just not enough.
If you want to do a lot of onside kicks, I would onside kick every time. If I'm being honest, I would love to see a team just like we're gonna onside kick every single time. Stop it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I'm look, Harbaugh, I think, is a better coach than a lot of these coaches that we play against, but we don't win.
Yeah,
we don't win. I respect Harbaugh a lot, but the guys he has as coordinators are holding the team back, which is why I want to see Harbaugh man up in this offseason and say, look, you guys are my friends, but I can't go any further with you, man. I gotta go in another direction. All right. Let's see. I think that's it. And he played 8 minutes at Howard before he got hurt. Oh, he's talking about Maker. Yeah. Okay. All right. We are going to start up the overtime show. All right. You want to be a part of that? Patreon.com/LBHT Show. Patrons, give us a couple minutes. We're going to get that started. Everybody else, man, thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. And also, look, we how many people are still in here? There's about 30 people in here. Make sure you hit that like button, by the way. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. A little teaser announcement. This ain't gonna be our official major announcement. This is our teaser major announcement. Mikey's still in here from Off the Record Podcast, man. Me and Mikey, man, we know each other for years.
Wait.
What?
Go ahead.
What is it?
I changed the ticker.
Okay. Look, man, he that's the click right there. Okay, like we've known each other for 20 plus years. All right, like that's my boy. He's 15 minutes away from me. All right, we love talking sports together. Him and Brandon and Quan, also my boys and everything. Like they have their podcast. Me and B got our podcast, but we all love talking sports. Obviously, we do the Lunch Break Hot Take show for you guys. We love talking football. That's usually dominates our conversation. But as you guys know, if you subscribe, we talk UFC, boxing, NBA, and all that good stuff. And Mikey is a huge boxing fan. So we got together and we talked about it, and we are deciding we're coming together. Me, B, and Mikey. We're going to put together a boxing podcast. Okay, strictly boxing, right? And like I said, we're just teasing it out right now. But we got a channel up. There's no artwork or anything on it yet, but pretty soon, look out for it. It is called Ring Kings Podcast. All right, Ring Kings Podcast. So if you're into boxing, I know you guys, some of you guys watch our videos, all right? If you like them and you want to see some more boxing talk, go ahead over there to Ring Kings Podcast. Search it. You might find it. You should be able to find it.
You probably won't. But
no, you should.
It's everywhere right now.
Yeah.
It's on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram and all that.
Yeah.
With, again, no artwork, no activity.
But soon.
We're just getting started with that.
That's why it's a teaser announcement. It's not the official announcement. Once it's up and running, you guys will hear more about it. But we're really excited about that, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you guys should check it out. But all right, with that, B, are you ready?
I am always ready.
Okay, B is ready. Guys, have a good night. We will see you next time. And we're going to do a post-game show on Sunday. We're going to do a post-game show on Sunday after the game. So we'll see you guys Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Peace out.